Hi. In previous tutorial, we learned how to create a new project and make simple movement for our character. Today, we are going to improve that script and add cool jumping ability. In previous video, we made a movement mechanic using key pressing, but there is a much better decision. Type float input x equals input get axis horizontal. Now our float will take a number from pressing keys. When we press A or arrow left, it will smoothly change to -1. If you press D or arrow right, the value will rise to 1. In other cases, function will return 0. So instead of checking key press conditions, we can fit it all into one line. Transform, translate vector 3, right multiplied by speed, multiplied by input x, and finally multiplied by time delta time. Clear or comment all previous code. Run the game. As you see, it works. And in addition, our character moves smoother than before. If you don't like that, you can change function getAxis into getAxisRaw. This way, we will take only strict numbers, -1, 0 or 1. If you want to change buttons, you should go to Edit, Project Settings, Input Manager, and click on drop-down menu. There are dozens of defined controls, and all of them could be changed at any time as you want. Let's improve our script more. The second tip you should know is serialization. Making fields visible in Inspector does not mean changing their modifier to public. Private fields also can be visible if you add attribute called SerializeField. As you see, fields are still visible in the inspector. Now I make rigid body invisible. I want to show you how to access components without drag and drop. There is a specific function. Go to Start method and type RB equals GetComponent rigid body 2D. Remember this method, it's extremely useful. How it works. As you remember, each object can have many assigned components. Think of it as a list of components. Then we call GetComponent, which simply loops through the list in the current object until it finds a script with type you asked for. So get the desired component once and save it in a variable. Never call it inside update loops, because it would be harmful to performance. Now it's time to add jumping back. Let's make it also with the usage of Input Manager. In previous tutorial, we've added jumping at update loop, but for physics there is a separate method, fixed update. It's more suitable for rigid bodies, so work with them only inside fixed update. Check if space button pressed, type get button down jump. Then add force to the object. Run the game. Maybe you noticed that cube jumps once, but sometimes you press the space bar and player does not respond. Why? That's because we check the input inside the fixed update, which is perfect for rigid bodies, but not suitable for Input Manager. So, what to do next? I'll show a trick. At the beginning, we used input getAxisRaw for movement. We could use the same method instead of button down. Yes, the player will jump too high again, but don't worry. We will fix that in a minute. Add float jump input outside. Then go to Update and enter. Jump input equals to input getAxisRaw jump. It will take 1 when spacebar is pressed and 0 when it released. And now, just multiply force by jump input. Test the game. Now our player responses to key pressing perfectly. Great. Another better variant is to check when jump input is greater or equals 1 instead of multiplication. This method is more optimized, so I'll use this one. If you know another trick, please leave it in comments below. Also, maybe you've noticed that sometimes player rotates in wrong direction. Let's prevent this by opening the rigid body 2D and checking the freeze at Z-axis. Okay. And now we are ready to fix the final problem. Jump only when you at the ground. Logically, we have to save a boolean that player have already hit the ground, and set it to false when spacebar was pressed. Select obstacle. In the top right corner of the inspector, you can see a drop-down menu called Layer. Each object can be placed at the separate layer to give them ability to collide only with certain game object groups. Let's add a new layer and call it Ground. Select it. Now we changed obstacle layer from default to ground. Change layer for other floor objects, you can select them all together at hierarchy. Excellent! To check collisions, there is a function onCollisionEnter 2D. It is also a built-in method that called somewhere inside Unity. It gives you an argument collision. We can extract information about game object we collided with and its layer. Let's check whether the collision object have a ground layer. Get back to editor and look at the ID of that layer. In my case, it is 6. Then, if collision game object layer equals to 6, it means that we hit the floor. Firstly, I want to check if it works. Debug log will send a message to console, run the game. Every time I collide with floor, it notifies me, great. And now we can use it for our purposes. Let's save a boolean whether we hit the ground or not. Set is grounded to true at collision event. At fixed update, add one more condition outside. If is grounded, then we can perform jump. When player jumps, we should set it back to false. This way we will prevent endless jumping. Let's launch a game, don't forget to set enough jump force. And it works. Amazing. Also, you can use more professional approach by adding the onCollisionExit 2D function. It is similar to onCollisionEnter 2D but called after stopping collision with object. Clear that boolean at fixed update. And this method works too. In my opinion, it keeps code cleaner, so I'll use this one. Congratulations, you've made a simple platformer. Share it with your friends. However, there are many different ways to improve it, and that's the topic of the next tutorials. Subscribe to our channel, play our games, and see you soon. Thanks for watching.